यमुनतीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी
जय राधा माधव जय बिहारी
जय गोपी जन वल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी
जय गोपी जन वल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी
यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी
यमुना तीरावनचारी
जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी
जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
निताय गौर हरि बोल
हरि बोल
हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल
निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल
जय सीताराम लक्ष्मण हनुमान सीताराम लक्ष्मण हनुमान
जय
सीताराम लक्ष्मण हनुमान सीताराम लक्ष्मण हनुमान जय प्रभुपदा प्रभुपदा शिल प्रभुपदा
जय प्रभुपदा श्रील प्रभुपदा
जय नित्य लीला प्रविष्ट ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिवाजकाचार्य स्तोत्र सतीश्वर ऐसी भक्ति विधान स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद महाराज की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
ओम भगवते वासुदेवाय
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं तो जयमुदीरये
ततो जयमुच्यते
नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु
नष्टप्रायेषु
नित्यं भागवत सेवया
नित्यं भागवत सेवया
भगवति उत्तम श्लोके
भगवते उत्तमश्लोके
भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी
भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी
Bhagavatam Mahapuran ki jai. So today we are reading from Canto 1, Chapter 3, entitled as Krishna is the source of all incarnations, text number 36. Sava idam vishwam amogha leelaha. Can repeat. Sava idam vishwam amogha leela. Trijati avati atitina satyate asmin. Trijati avati atina satyate asmin. Bhuteshu chantarhita atmatantra. Bhuteshu chantarhita atmatantra. Shanvargikam jignati shanaguneshaha. Tadvargikam jignanti shanaguneshaha. So, translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Maharaj. Word-to-word translation: Saha, the Supreme Lord, Va, alternately. Idam, this, Vishwam, manifested universes, Amogha Leela, one whose activities are spotless, Srijati, creates, Avati Ati, maintains and annihilates, Na, not, Sajjate is affected by, Asmin, in them, Bhuteshu, in all living beings, Cha, also, Antarhitaha, living within, Atmatantraha, self-independent, Shat Vargikam, endowed with all the potencies of his opulences, Jigrati, superficially attached, like smelling the fragrance, Shat Guna Isha, master of the senses. Translation: the Lord, whose activities are always spotless, is the master of the six senses and is fully omnipotent with six opulences. He creates the manifested universes, maintains them, and annihilates them without being in the least affected. He is within every living being and is always independent. Purport: the prime difference between the Lord and the living entities is that the Lord is the creator and the living entities are the created. Here he is called the Amogh Leela, which indicates that there is nothing lamentable in his creation. Those who create disturbances in his creation are themselves disturbed. He is transcendental to all material afflictions because he is full with all six opulences, namely wealth, power, fame, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation. And thus he is the master of the senses. He creates these manifested universes in order to reclaim the living beings who are within them suffering their threefold miseries, maintains them, and in due course annihilates them without being the least affected by such actions. He is connected with this material creation very superficially. As one smells odor without being connected with the odorous article, non-godly elements, therefore, can never approach him despite all endeavors. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjan Shalakya Chakshurun Miltam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manoabhistam Sthapitamena Bhutale Samrupa Kadamahyam Dadati Sapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shatapad Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavacham Shri Rupam Sagra Chatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitasya He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Sapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pachate Deshatarine. Hare Krishna. So welcome all for this Sunday program and Bhagavatam class. Today is very auspicious day of appearance of Shri Lord Ramchandra. So happy Ram Navami to you all. So translation, I'll read it once again. We are reading from Canto 1, Chapter 3, text number 36. The Lord, whose activities are always spotless, is the master of the six senses and is fully omnipotent with six opulences. He creates them and the manifested universes, maintains them and annihilates them without being in the least affected. He is within every living being and is always independent. So, chapter 3 of this Canto 1, where Sutta Goswami is explaining all the various incarnations of Krishna. So, in the past 2-3 verses, we learned that he has explained about the nature of soul, what is liberation, what is the process to get liberated, how to get self-realized, and its process. And then in this chapter 36, verse number 36, 37, and 38, these are the verses related to subject matter of understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead and describing him, his qualities, etc. So those 36, 37, and 38 can be considered in that context, that understanding the Lord and describing his various qualities. So today we are discussing chapter number 36, text number 36, and there are some 2-3 main points into this text. First, here it is being talked about the Amogha Leela, the spotless, nature of the activities of the Lord, and then he is the master of senses and master of 6 opulences, Shadashwarya. So that we will discuss. And then finally, that he has nothing to do with this created material world. Actually, he is very superficially attached to this material creation or connected to this material creation. So Lord has nothing to do with this material creation that we will also discuss. So these are some 3-4 main points which Prabhupada has also touched in his beautifully explained purport. Each line has got very, very deep meaning, in this purport. The great scholars, acharyas, can go on, expanding each and every line for several, chapters even. Each and very profound message is there in this purport as well. Entire philosophy, we can say, it is concised, put in this single purport itself about the, spiritual science. But yes, we have to have that kind of qualities and qualification to be able to decipher this, even though it is very clearly written, but still it has got very deep, profound meaning. Each and every line, as I was telling, can be even further expanded, in chapters. But anyway, we'll go one by one some of these aspects. So the very first thing here mentioned is that the Lord whose activities are always spotless. So that spotless word is mentioned in Sanskrit as Amogha Leela. So something where Prabhupada is mentioning in his purport, nothing lamentable in his creation. So Lord's activities are spotless. So that means whatever he has created, even in this material world, is also actually spotless, nothing lamentable. And this is very interesting subject matter. We will try to discuss that as well. So let's first see Lord's creation, how it is, perfect or, spotless. So we see that, all the planets, they are moving in their prescribed orbit without any, disturbance. There is no error there, right? We see the sun is sunrise at a prescribed time, sunsets on the prescribed time. It doesn't happen that one day, there is no sunrise. Have you ever seen that? No, it is all working perfectly, right? A very well designed mechanism. Sun is providing enormous energy. We don't have to pay any bill like, Southern Scottish electricity, company. We are not paying any bill to, sun here, even though there is a method, Vedic method, how to, pay that bill as well through prescribed, duties and yajnas. Anyway, in Kali Yuga, this chanting includes everything. So if we are doing chanting, we are paying bill to sun god as well. Our electricity bill we are paying there. And if we don't do, then we will be called thieves. So that is also mentioned in chapter 3 of Bhagavad Gita. So yes, so sun is there, moon is there, sunrise, moonrise, everything is perfectly, working as per Lord's, direction. There is no flaw there. The seasons, they are coming on their prescribed time without any flaw. It doesn't happen so that, we have like entire year summer or just rainy season all 365 days a year. Even though in this country we have most of the day rainy season, but it is not like we have torrential rain happening all 365 days of year. So there is everything happening and with certain decided pattern, and this is how we can see the flawlessness of the Lord's creation. Even if we see the distance between sun and earth, if we disturb even 1 meter, if we move earth towards sun or away from sun, just even one few meters, it will create havoc. We won't have any living entity anymore on this earth planet. Even if we disturb slightly the distance between sun and earth. So it is all perfectly designed. So Lord creation is perfect. And whatever his leelas, that is also perfect. Today is the appearance day of Lord Ramchandra. And he has set an example of what an ideal, human life should be. How we should behave, what should be our character. That is why he's also called Maryada Purushottam. Lord by his activities has established, has set up examples for us to follow, like like an ideal son, ideal king, ideal husband, ideal brother, you name it, whatever relationship you can think of in human life, Lord Ramchandra has set an example for that, and that is why he is called Maryada Purushottam. So all his activities are spotless. Like when he was crown prince for the kingdom of Ayodhya, but when his father asked him to abandon everything and go on exile for 14 years, he happily took it. And it is mentioned in Shastras that before knowing that he is supposed to go on exile, his face was blooming like lotus. And when he heard that commandment, one order from his father, and still his face was like blooming like lotus, no difference. So that is the exemplified character of Lord Ramchandra. So this is again spotless. His so Lord's leelas are also spotless, and we devotees their relation, just like Lord Krishna, his pastimes, even like childhood pastime of stealing butter. He's stealing butter, but we all enjoy and relish that, pastimes, that Leela. Because Lord is absolute, his actions, deeds, everything is also transcendental. And this is all flawless. So in that way, you can see how it is mentioned here that his activities are spotless, Amog Leela. So Amog also we can see, interpret in another term, that something which never fails. And that is why all the arrows of Lord Ramchandra, it's called Amog Ban. Those arrows, they once it is released, that arrow is going to hit its target. No matter what may come, it's going to hit target. So in that way, it is spotless in that sense as well. It will go and shoot its target always. So all the arrows of Lord Ramchandra is called Amog Ban. Ban means arrow, and Amog means something which is spotless, flawless. We can also see the difference as another difference of this perfect creation, nature of activities of Lord as spotless from what we call Ishopnishad. So there are two nice verses there. One is the invocation prayer itself, which is like goes as Om Purnamida Purnas Om Purnamida Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudichyate, like that. So it tells that God as a whole is perfect, complete, perfect and complete, and because he is completely perfect, whatever is emanating from him, such as all this phenomenal world, is also complete. Okay, and after that complete whole is taken away, still what is left is this again that remains complete. So it is in complete balance. So what we can say here, just like definition of infinity. So in mathematics we learn about infinity. So from infinity, if you take even infinity out, so the thing which is taken away is infinity, but what remains is also infinity. You're getting this point, right? Infinity is how we define infinity. Even if you take something away from it, infinity, you take away from infinity. So what has been taken away is infinity, and what remains is also infinity. So that is the, this is why it is called Purnam, perfect. A perfect whole, and whatever is taken away is perfect, but still what remains is also perfect. So that way we can see that Lord's creation is also spotless. Now, in this material world, one may argue that, okay, if it is perfect, then why there are miseries, right? Even if it is perfect, then why there are misery? And that is why there is a another school of thought, these Mayavadis. They say that Brahm Satyam Jagat Mithya, that this world is not real. This is mithya. Mithya means something which is not true. Actually, that is not correct. So this material world is also true, but temporary in nature. That is the difference. It is not permanent. It is temporary in nature. And it has got all ingredients, everything, full supply for the living entities to do the God realization, self-realization, God realization, and come out of this material world. There is no flaw in this material world. So what we can say that the Lord has created this material world. It stays for some time, and once its schedule is over, then it gets annihilated. So in that way, it is temporary, but it is not that mithya. It is not like saying not unreal. It is real, but it is temporary in nature. And it has got everything, as I said, everything is provided for the living entities to sustain. So all the universes, they are like self-sufficient for its sustenance. It's not like, even if you see Earth planet, for example, for our sustenance, do we need to import anything from other planet? Like, from Mars, we have to get something, import. Maybe from moon, we have to import something. No. Whatever is required for our sustenance, everything is there in this planet. It is another, matter that we are encroaching and creating disturbances. And if you see, that is why there is one line mentioned in the purport. Prabhupada has mentioned, those who create disturbance in his creation are themselves disturbed. This is the reason why we are all in trouble. We have all this talk of, save the earth and this environmental day, this and that. Why this is happening? Because we are creating disturbances. When we try to lord over the material nature, try to exploit it for our sense gratification, then this all imbalances will come into being, and that will start creating all this problem for us. And this is what we are experiencing, particularly in this Kali Yuga period. So, and again, we can see another verse from Ishopnishad only, which explains it very clearly how this, these disturbances are being created by the, living entities. Where it says, Isa Vashyam idam sarvam yat kinchya jagatyam jagat ten tyakten bhunjita ma gridha kaschit dhanam. So it says that everything which is, animate or inanimate in this universe is controlled and owned by the Lord. So Isha Vasyam idam. So he is the controller and owner of all these, universes. And one should therefore accept only those things necessary for their for himself, for their sustenance, and which are set aside as his quota. And one should not encroach or accept things knowing well to whom they belong. So everything belongs to the Lord. We are not owner of anything. We have not created anything in this material world, right? We may take some material, transform it, and create some product, but the original ingredients not created by us. All these, raw materials which are used in factories, etc. We have not created them. We may take them and transform their, shape and look and say this is a product and we have created it. But actually not. We have not created anything. Everything is created by Lord, and that is why he is the owner. So whatever he has set aside for our use as quota, we should be only utilizing that one. Yat kinchayat, this is what is mentioned in Ishopnishad as well. And if everyone does that, then entire this planet will live in harmony, peace and harmony. The problem is once we are encroaching in other areas, trying to accumulate that thing, and this is why this way you can explain why some people are rich and somebody are poor as well. Because rich, they are encroaching in other areas and accumulating that wealth, and that is why making somebody poor. By design, everybody should be getting whatever they need for their sustenance in this material world. Just like if you see in jungle, you don't see generally animals, they are dying out of hunger. In jungles of Africa, elephant, they need thousands and thousands kilograms of food every day, and still they survive, they get everything. So nature is providing everything, whatever is required for our, for us to put body and soul together. But the problem happens when we become greedy. So as it is said that whatever is our need, that will be satisfied by the nature, but our greed will never be satisfied. And that greed, when we become greedy, when we try to lord over the material nature, try to accumulate more than what is necessary for sense gratification, enjoyment, then all this problem starts. And this is what we are seeing in this material world today. So it is not that there is a flaw in this material creation, but we as individual souls are creating these disturbances, and that is why Prabhupada has mentioned here, those who create disturbance in his creation are themselves disturbed. So all these demons, example like Ravana, one example, He wanted to create a ladder, something like through which anybody and everybody can go to the heavenly planet without having any qualification. So that is against the laws of nature, against Lord's law, and that's why ultimately he was killed. So this is demon's propensity, Maya Prita Jnana. They might be very intelligent materially, but their intelligence is stolen by the illusory energy of the Lord, and that's why they do something which creates a problem. All these weapons of mass destruction, like atom bomb and all, that can be considered into that category as well. Obviously, it requires intelligence to be able to produce such weapons, but the intelligence is stolen by the illusory energy of the Lord, and that's why they end up creating something which is not beneficial for human society. Even it can kill thousands and millions of people in just fraction of second. So it is us who are creating disturbance in the material world, this creation, and that's why we get all these miseries. Otherwise, material world is also created perfectly for a purpose. And what is that purpose is? For that, we need to understand why we came to this material world. So it was our desire to enjoy separately from Krishna, from Lord. Even though our existence was the original, our constitutional position is to serve Lord, because as we learn from the Ishopnisha Shloka as well, that we are part and parcel of Supreme Lord. So part responsibility is to serve the whole. That is our constitutional position. But we wanted to enjoy separately. That is why this material world was created for us, whereby we can go and have so-called enjoyment and then come out of it, purify ourselves and come out of it. Just like a jail or prison house is created by the state, by government, because there would be a few citizens who would not follow the laws of the land, and they will end up going into the jail so that they can reform themselves, become nice citizen, and then come out of that jail. So it is similar to that. That is the purpose of the creation of this material world. Then again, it's mentioned here that Krishna is he's the master of 6 senses and fully omnipotent with 6 opulences. So he's master of the 6 senses. So Manasasti and Nirani. So it is 5 what we say perceptory senses. Like seeing through eye, olfactory, the smelling through nose, hearing ear, and taste, and then touch, the tactile touch perceptory sense by the skin. So these 5 senses, and then mind as well, the 6th. In that way, it is said master of the 6 senses. So mind is also included. And he is the master. So that means whenever we are seeing something, actually it is Lord who is enable us to see, because he is the master of all the senses. When we are tasting anything, is it Lord who is enabling us to touch, us to taste something like that. So the problem is when we try to enjoy these senses for our own self, then it is a problem. Whereas if we try, as as per the scriptures, if we try to satisfy Lord through our senses, then there is no problem. Everything is in equilibrium, because he is the master, and we as a part and parcel should be serving him. And in that way, everything will be fine. So, say, for example, when we offer food to Lord, after that, you get this opportunity to relish that same food as prasad. And it does not it will not create any karmic reaction. So that is the beauty, of devotional service as well. That you don't have to, like fast for months and months and months, and go to in some caves in Himalayas and sit in, Padmasana and do some tapasya for years and years. No. Simply, and in Kali Yuga, it is even simple as it is mentioned, Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Hare Nam Ev Kevalam, Kalu Nastev, Nastev, Nastev Gatarunyata. Just by chanting the holy name of the Lord, we can get all the benefit which was possible earlier in previous ages by deep austerity and penances for years and years, thousands of years. So he is the master of the senses, and then he is having 6 opulences, Shad Ashwarya. And what are those? Wealth, beauty, fame, power, knowledge, and renunciation. And everything in its full capacity. All riches, all beauty, all knowledge, all power, all renunciation, everything is in its full capacity is there in Lord. How to understand that? So we may see somebody, rich, but he cannot claim that he has got riches of the entire universe. Whereas Lord, he is the master of innumerable universes, not one planet or one, country or one universe. He is the master of innumerable universes. And this is the material world. And then the spiritual sky as well. He is the Lord of spiritual world, both spiritual and material world. So only he can claim that he has got all the riches. Thousands and thousands of Lakshmis, goddess of fortune, are serving Lord in Vaikuntha, always ready to serve him. And then he has got all power, all beauty. And we may get somebody here, very rich, but with richness, he may not have power. He may not have, all knowledge. But Krishna, he has all these opulences in its full capacity, all together. And in fact, these opulences are ever increasing. It is not that, there is something called full, that much, and after that there is a limit. No, they are limitless. They are ever increasing. There is very nice discussion actually. Prabhupada once, he was in America, then he visited a place and he was giving a lecture. And there were a lot of people from this society, Mensa. You know Mensa? People having very high IQ. So they have got their own, society, Mensa. Very, very intelligent people, with very highest level of IQs. So after the lecture, one person asked question. Okay, Prabhupada, if you're saying that Krishna has all this power, all these opulences, then it might be possible, it may so happen that he creates something which he cannot lift. He creates some object which is so heavy that he himself may not be able to lift it. Then, and this is a very tricky question, because if that happens, then Krishna doesn't have, full potency, because his power potency will be inferior there. And Prabhupada said, yes, that is possible, that Krishna creates something so heavy that he cannot lift, but he can lift. He cannot lift initially, but after some time he will be able to lift it. And how we can understand it? Because all his potencies are ever increasing. So at a particular time, his creation potencies has created something which is so heavy that he may not be able to lift. But by the time his this power potency will also increase, because it is all ever increasing, then he will be able to lift it. So this is how we can see. This is like inconceivable. Achintya is we call in Sanskrit, inconceivable potencies, ever increasing. It's not like constant. So he's the master of 6 opulences. Everything he has got in full capacity. And if you have all these opulences, riches, power, fame, knowledge, everything, you may not be renounced, but Krishna is renounced as well at the same time. And his renunciation potency we can see, like when he agreed to become a charioteer of Arjuna. Even though he is Lord of innumerable universes, but here he is out of love and affection. He is ready to become even charioteer. He is ready to serve his devotees. In fact, it is said in the Shastras and Acharyas, they have written commentary that there is a competition between devotee and the Lord. Who is going to serve better. So there is a competition in that way. Even Lord, he takes great pleasure in serving devotees. And as we can see, this example from Krishna acting as a charioteer for Arjuna. So, and then we discuss about why this material creation has to happen. And yeah, then another point is mentioned here that he's not affected by material creation, maintenance and annihilation. So he is totally aloof from this material creation. He is there in Vaikuntha, but because of our desire to enjoy separately from Krishna, he has created this material world for our so-called enjoyment, and he's always eager to reclaim back those souls. I think if you see chapter 2, last verse, just go to that. There was mention of this as well. Chapter 2, last verse. Yeah. Thus the Lord of the universe maintains all planets inhabited by demigods, men and lower animals, assuming the roles of incarnation. He performs pastimes to reclaim those in the mode of pure goodness. So that is also the purpose of why he is taking all these incarnations in this material creation. So Lord has nothing to do with this material world. And out of his compassion, actually, he is coming to this world. Why? To reclaim all those souls who decided to part away from him and go to the material world. And obviously it is dukhalema shashvatam, because we try to lord over the material nature, and then all these miseries starts for us. And Lord is always eager to get us back home, back to Godhead. If we take one step, Lord is ready to take 10 steps towards us. But he is not forcing anything onto us. It is our own individual choice, because we have been provided with this limited liberty. It is our choice. When we decide that, yes, we want to become devotee, we are a surrender soul, then we get this opportunity to go back to Godhead, and then get out of all this material entanglement, miseries. And once the soul reaches this Vaikuntha planets, spiritual world, then it never comes back to this material world again on this miseries. That's why it's mentioned here, threefold miseries. Prayata, that is called in Sanskrit. Threefold, yes. Who are within them suffering threefold miseries in this material world. We have threefold miseries, that is called prayata, three types of miseries. And in the concluding portion of Prabhupada is then mentioning non-godly elements, therefore, can never approach him despite all endeavors. So we have to have Krishna consciousness. We have changed our consciousness, from this material enjoyment to be that to having serving attitude for Krishna. And then we become godly, and then only we can get to understand Krishna and then serve him, understand our eternal relationship, what is our constitutional position, what is our relationship with Lord. And once we understand that, then we act in that way with serving attitude or devotional service, and then we get out of this material world and go back home, back to Godhead. So it is important to revive our relationship, lost relationship which we have forgotten. Okay, so this is all I had to say about this verse today, and I will stop here. And if there is any question or comment, then please feel free. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, wonderful. This is really,
Sorry, if somebody, Chaitanya Prabhu, Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu, I'm not able to hear you. I don't know about others.
Same here, Prabhu. We can't hear you.
okay. Thank you so much.
No, I still can't hear.
Okay, I'll continue. Sharman, you can speak.
Thank you so much, Prabhu, for the class. It was nice, nice concept, and even very nice to hear all the pastimes. Thank you so much, Prabhu. And does anyone have questions?
Okay, I
have
hope
one
that
question.
it was clear to everyone. It was not like overhead transmission, right? Anyway, it will
Hare
never
Krishna,
be
Prabhuji.
overhead
I have one
transmission.
question.
Yes, yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, thank you for the nectarian class. I just wanted to ask that Lord has full renunciation, right? So, like, how do we understand the renunciation? Okay, Lord was able to renunciate, become a charioteer. He was able to renunciate all go Rani and was able to leave them in Vrindavan and was able to go to Madura. But when it comes to individual entities, uh, how do we place this renunciation when we are in all the family bondages with our duties and all? Where do we actually have using this renunciation? How should we make sure that we are having this quality of renunciation?
Okay, so there was a bit of disturbance, but if I have understood your question rightly, I think you are asking how is it relevant for us, like renunciation, is right? Okay, so renunciation, it doesn't mean that you renounced everything and go to some jungle and do some tapasya there. And very good example is there from Bhagavad Gita itself. Okay, just by renouncing this material world, so without having that perfection will not give any result. That will create further disturbances for ourselves and for society as well. But what is that renunciation? As you see from the example of Arjuna, after hearing Bhagavad Gita, did he go to forest or in Himalaya and started doing some sadhana there? No, he was military man before hearing Bhagavad Gita, and he remained military man after hearing Bhagavad Gita. But the change was there in the outlook, the consciousness. So, doing our activities for the pleasure of Krishna, renouncing the fruits and results which is coming out of it. So we should not be considering ourselves the doer of our activities and enjoyer of the fruits. Once we do that, do away with that, considering that Bhoktaram Yagatapsam Sarvlok Maheshwaram, considering Krishna is Bhoktaram, he is the enjoyer, beneficiary of all these yagyas, activities, endeavors which we are doing. So results should be offered to Krishna. That is the renunciation as well. You don't have to go in some kind of renounce order as such. One has to have that kind of qualification. So it's not that we leave everything and then become a monk. Everybody cannot become that. Obviously, there will be people having those kind of qualification and qualities, attitude. They can become full-time preacher and monk, but it is not that everybody has to do that. Still, we can be a renounced, living a renounced life by renouncing the fruits of our activities, but still doing our activity. I hope that answers your question. if you want further explanation, then I can continue.
Yes, Prabhuji, I think that was very meaningful.
Yeah, so always we should take this example from Bhagavad Gita as well. Particularly, you see in Indian society, back in India, generally parents, they get very much agitated, disturbed if they see that their children, young boy, even studying Bhagavad Gita, they think that this guy is going to renounce everything and go in some kind of Himalaya, sitting in temple and leave everything aside, because this is our misconception. Still we can perform our duty as a matter of duty, we can act, but we are not attached to those fruits of that activities, actions. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
And in Kali Yuga, it is very difficult to have those kind of renounced life. So we have to renounce the fruits of those activities. Still we can perform based on our the natural tendency, the niyat karma. We must be doing it. Okay. Yes, Sushant Prabhu, I see your.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Very nice session today, Sri Ram's Navami. Yes, I think you answered the things like in the Maya things like material world, how the renunciation every day to day we need to remind. Sorry. Like every day to day activities, the renunciation, how as a devotee you need to focus more. I think yeah, although we are not renouncing, but still Maya coming. So how to renounce that one day to day to overcome that one. Like we'll be work both attached, like family life, grihastha life, plus spiritual hunkering will be there. Sometimes we'll not do complete, but think due to Maya we are sometimes distracted. But again, how that we can achieve it. Is it audible?
Can you repeat your question once again?
Sorry, yeah, questions related to Chaitanya Prabhu, and you also answered like every day to day life, how the renunciation we can do, because Maya, it's a lot of time coming and going. So how we can save from the Maya and renounce that material things every day little bit and work with normal life and connect with
Okay.
Sorry, my background.
Right. So see, you don't have to leave anything to start with. Just add Krishna. We have to just add Krishna in our day-to-day life. So our lives will be centered around Krishna. Okay. And then Param Dishtva Nivartante, when we start getting the higher taste, then all other anarthas will automatically go away. Okay. So the main thing which we have to do is that we have to bring Krishna in our life. Everything what we do should be centered around Krishna. Just like upbringing of the children. So if we do it like, oh, these guys, I am putting time and investing time, money, everything, so that my children, they get very successful life from material point of view. That is one aspect, and another is another viewpoint is that okay, I've been given this opportunity to serve them as a parent, so I'm doing it as a matter of duty, and whether they succeed or don't succeed, that is not in my control, but I will be doing with all my sincerity, all the effort, endeavor with as a matter of duty. So this is a devotee's approach, not getting attached to it, just doing it as a matter of duty. Still, same thing will be done, but your mind will be at peace because you're not worried about the outcome. You're just doing as a matter of duty and pleasing Krishna as a father or mother. I'm doing my duty. So this, I have to leave this, leave that, nothing. Whatever is favorable, we should accept. Whatever is not favorable, we should, leave that aside. And how that will come through, practice. When we bring Krishna in our lives, we do all our activities, centered around Krishna, then this thing will happen. And the process, as we know, Shravanam, Kirtanam, chanting is a very, very important. Devotees association, having prasadam, etc. Then everything will come automatically. All the Devi is gone, divine qualities will appear. You see, that is why devotees, they are always smiling, very peaceful, happy. So it is not that, I decide that I renounce this. And so-called renunciation, I am thinking about that all the time. I've left something as behind, but only like superficially. But I'm deeply attached. My mind is always thinking about that. What is the benefit of doing that? So it anarthas will get eliminated on its own in due course of time once we follow the process of devotional yoga, devotional service. Because we will get some higher tests and then lower thing, inferior thing, you will not worry about anymore. And it will not be that our life will be dry without any rasa, without any pleasure. No, it will be always very blissful. Tushyanti cha ramanti cha. This is what Krishna says. Okay, I hope that answers your question.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
There was one comment there about, my question is not directly related to the lesson today, but a bit around Lord Ram, if that's okay. Is there an Ayodhya in the spiritual world, and do they have completely different pastimes than the ones in the material world? So yes, there is Saket Dham in spiritual world as well. That is the eternal abode of Lord Ramchandra, and there is always pastime happening. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you for mentioning that. So my question is more around, so the Ramayana that we have happening in the material world. So are we to think that in the spiritual world, if there is a Lord Ram's abode, none of the things that actually happen that we see in Ramayana, none of those things actually happen in the spiritual world? And then there's Lord Ram and and Sita Devi eternally over there in the eternally ruling Ayodhya. So none of the things that we see in Ramayana, do they not happen at all in the spiritual world?
So it is not only that, there are innumerable pastimes in the spiritual world as well. But the point is that yes, there is a spiritual in the spiritual world as well, this Ayodhya or Saket Dham, which is the eternal abode of Lord Ramchandra. And there, Lord Ramchandra, with his associates and consort, Sita Devi, he is always involved in various pastimes.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, okay. Sakshi Mataji, do you have any question?
Hare Krishna, what a wonderful class, Ram Prabhu. Thank you so much. And wishing you all happy Ram Navami. My question, Prabhu, is you talked about Lord Rama as a Maryada Purushottam, where he is a perfect as a husband, as a perfect king, a perfect father to Lord Love and Love Kush. Could you give any particular example to exemplify this particular Maryada Purushottam for the benefit of us all? Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Example for what? Sorry, I didn't get you.
Example of as to exemplify that he is Maryada Purushottam.
Yeah, so I gave one example now when I was discussing that as a son, obedient son, he even though he was crown prince, but he accepted the order of his father to go to the forest, because his father was has taken a vow that he will get three, he will grant three boons to his wife Kaikeyi. So and then Kaikeyi tricked Maharaj Dashrath. I mean, that is a different pastime altogether. We should read Ramayana and you will then get to know about this. But the thing is that he happily agreed as an obedient son to go to exile, even though he was crown prince. Okay, and as an ideal husband as well, like when Ravana abducted Sita Devi, Lord Rama, he raised an army of monkeys, several million monkeys, etc., and then attacked Lanka, and he killed Ravana as well to protect his wife. Obviously, he's acting like a human here because he's taken as an incarnation in a human form. Otherwise, he's all powerful, but he's doing all these leelas, helping demigods, etc. Because demigods, they were all very much terrified by the power of Ravana. He had captured all demigods. They were very, very terrified by the power of Ravana. So he protected everyone by eliminating Ravana, and all these various pastimes are there in Ramayana. You won't be able to find any flaw in Lord Ramchandra's character. And as an ideal brother as well, he was very, very loving and affectionate to his younger brothers like Lakshman, Bharat, and Shatrugna, everybody. And even though he was exiled because of the conspiracy of these, this maidservant of Kaikeyi, but Lord Ram never had any, ill feeling or revengeful feeling against any of these, personalities. He's full of compassion.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
So with this, I'll stop it here then. So thank you very much for joining today's Sunday program, and wishing you all very happy Ram Navami. So if possible, read something from Ramayana and get your mood absorbed in the various pastimes of Lord Sri Ramchandra. Very, very merciful incarnation of Lord. Okay. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam Mahapuran ki jai. Jagat Guru Shishila Prabhupada.
Jai.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Be full fasting today, or is it Ekadashi fasting today? Any clues, Prabhuji?
I think you need to take some guidance from maybe either Vishal Gaurang Prabhu or Amala Mataji. I think it depends. As far as I know,
Janmashtami we do full fast till midnight. I think probably it's full fast till sunset today.
No, I think it will be definitely fast until midday, because during midday is the appearance time of Lord Ramchandra. Okay, and after that, Ekadashi, like Ekadashi.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Wonderful class. So beautiful pastimes. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Any
Prabhu.
announcement? Maybe not. I don't know. Is there any announcement? Okay.
I don't think there is any today, it looks like.
Helena, would you like to announce anything? No. Don't Prabhu.
Yeah. Would anyone like to
Hare
join the allotment
Krishna.
services? Please approach Tom Prabhu and Helena Mataji. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Have a happy Sri Ram Navami.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Patitanam Pavanebhyo.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Ram.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Hare Krishna.